Welcome back to a new episode of Sea Glass Archaeology, everybody. It's a warm spring morning and I just dropped my children off at school. Now it is a quarter moon, so the tide isn't going to move out too much, but the winds are pushing offshore, so I'm hoping that's going to make for some great discoveries. Let's go see what we find. Ooh, I see a nice piece of blue right over here, everyone. Ooh, I don't want to let the waves lose it. Oh gosh, look at that. It's actually a marble. It's a beautiful little flat sea marble. Gosh, you can see it almost looks like it's the letter T when I flip it on that side. It almost looks like it's a peace sign if I put it the other way as well. But it's a beautiful little flat pancake marble. And when I hold it like that on my finger, I gotta try not to lose it. But you can really see how flat it is. It's amazing just to see how quickly this marble could get lost in the ocean, everybody, with just a few passing waves. And if I wasn't in the right place at the right time, I wouldn't have found it. And that's why it's so important to walk over your steps more than once. Oh, I think I see a piece of blue. Oh no, unfortunately, it's not actual blue, everybody. It would just be a little piece of rubbish. And there's a lot of rubbish out here. This would definitely be from an old fishing trap. And then there's a piece of clear glass right over here. And it looks like it's got a little bit of embossing on it. So we're gonna have to give this one a bit of a closer examination. My eyesight's getting worse by the day, everybody, and it was really difficult for me to see what it said. So I had to get it wet, and you can see that the ducks are curious about what I'm doing right now. Optical illusion, there they are. I'm a regular David Copperfield. So we can see that it says the word pour on it, and then it has a few lines. So this would be a graduated medicine bottle. And this is one of the most common bottles that I've dug out of my yard and I've dug out of any landfill. These lines over here were meant so that you would take a proper dosage without having a measuring cup. So I can imagine that somewhere in my collection at home, although I found so many of these that I keep them out in the shed, I'm gonna have a bottle that's very similar to this one. Oh my gosh, look at that, everybody. I cannot believe it. Look, it's a beautiful piece. Oh my gosh, it looks like it's amberina. Right there, everybody, where the tide was pushing in, a beautiful piece that I thought was red at first, but when I flip it on the sides, we can see without a doubt that the red was only flashed on. It's only a small little layer, so this would have been what's known as amberina glass. I'm fairly certain that I have a few things at home that we're going to be able to match this to, and I'm also fairly certain that if we put this underneath a black light, it's going to fluoresce because it probably had cadmium in it, and a lot of this amberina glass had cadmium, which was a dangerous element, a carcinogen. But it helped heat up the glass a lot quicker, so there's a chance that this one is gonna glow and light up like Rudolph's nose. Finding a shard like that red one sure is exciting, everybody, and it's got my heart pumping. Another thing that gets my heart pumping, and I'm so excited to tell you about as well, is I was asked for a fourth time to be the special guest at the Mermaid's Tear Sea Glass Festival out in Prince Edward Island this year. What I love about this festival so much is that they allow me the opportunity to meet with every single person that comes in, and they get to bring all their most amazing and unique shards to me so I can help identify them and provide insight for their most cherished finds. So it's going to be the best weekend ever. If you've ever been to the festivals before, you know how exciting it is, and you know how much I love meeting and connecting with people. So hopefully I get to see everybody out there. I believe it's going to be July 26th and July 27th. It's always the last weekend of July, and I'm going to make time out of my super busy cruise ship schedule to get out there and do it one more time. I just came across this absolutely fantastic specimen of sedimentary rock, everybody. We can see the banding on it, and it probably took eons for this to form. When I flip it over, we can actually see there's a differential, so there's a little bit of a gap from one side to the other, and the banding just doesn't line up, and that just makes it so much more special. I can see something very unique right over here, everyone, so let's find out together what it is. Oh, unfortunately for me, it's just a nice piece of amber glass that is a little bit on the olive side, and at first I thought it had carnival iridescence, and that's okay. They can't all be perfect. Some of the pieces have to be plain Jane as well. Sometimes I just find the craziest things out here on the shoreline, and what I'm about to share with you next falls underneath that category. We can see it's got the word princess on it, and even though it feels like it's plastic, I'm not 100% sure this actually could be ceramic. Now, what I love about this one so much is I've always joked that if the beach was a princess, I would marry her. So it looks like she's trying to propose to me with this really cool little find. Here's a really nice aged piece, everybody. Oh, I wonder if it is turquoise, teal, or if it's green. Oh, it's a nice emerald type of a green. Now, not too long ago, the children and I were out rummaging through garbage, and that's something that we love to do every single spring. And we came across an amazing piece of glassware, well over 100 years old, and there's a good chance that it would match to something like this. Here, I'm opening up the trunk. Oh my gosh, these are really cool. These are the kind of shelvings you'd see at like a... Oh my gosh! Ah! Ah! Look at what I just found! Are you kidding me? Oh, that's called a floppy disk, Mike. That's what computers used to have to run off of. Look at this. It says owned by Agnes's mother before 1923. Here's a better look at that incredible piece of early American pressed glass that we were able to salvage. I remember joking with the children that this was probably made at the same time as the Stanley Cup, and it closely resembles it as well. Turns out this was made by the Cambridge Glass Company out of Ohio about 1899, and then over a decade later, it was popular for other companies to do a little addition such as this brass base, and then sell a piece of glassware as their own. The thistle would have been a representation of Scotland, but it was also very popular at the time to put thistles and to put wheat on glassware. I've seen it in other ones as well. And I'm gonna keep the little piece of tape on the bottom because it tells a great story of the provenance, and to the best of my assessment, a lot of the contents there would have been from the old tenants of the house, and somebody new had moved in, and that happens out here a lot where they just take all the contents and they throw it to the curb. Don't worry, I took home those white shelves as well. That's gonna make a great little shoe rack. It's been a while since I found a shard that was from an old television, everybody, and this one falls underneath that category as well. This would have been right on the edge where the screen would have met the inside glass, and I found a few dozen of these in my life, and I just think that they're so cool and they're so unique. It's not the type of thing that you see every day unless people threw televisions out on the shoreline and into the ocean not far from where you pick. Oh, look at this right over here, everybody. We have a nice piece of turquoise, and this was probably from an old insulator. It's not the best aged piece, but anytime we come across a piece of turquoise is a good day. So I've got a few more finds that I wanted to share with everyone. The first one's gonna be another beautiful tile. It's got that honeycomb back to it, and it's got some pink slip. So this probably would have been an industrial tile. It might have even been from the coal mines. And then this is the one that I really loved because it has a date on it. We can see it says 1936, and I'm fairly certain this would have been made by the Dominion Glass Company out in Montreal. And there's a very good chance, due to the size of this bottle, that this would have been an oval pill bottle, like maybe something like an aspirin bottle. And then unfortunately, there's a piece of yellow, but this piece of yellow without a doubt is going to be plastic, and this is going to be a lip from a bottle. Now, I'm not 100% sure if it started out yellow like this one. There's a chance that it just changed color due to all of the UV rays of the sun. How strange is this, everybody? It almost looks like it's a piece of sandstone, but it's got a bunch of red paint on the other side. Now, occasionally I've seen this in places like buildings or maybe even at a gas station. I'm not even 100% sure if it is sandstone, but it's super thin and it definitely does not look natural. And as always, there's a lost soul on the beach looking to be reclaimed. And as I say, many lost souls have been reclaimed through contemplating life and spending time next to nature, thinking about what's important and what we really, really love. So I'm going to take this lost soul home. I'm going to put it on my shelf at my shop, and I know one day the right person's going to come by and they're going to want this soul. Here's another beautiful sea glass color, everybody. It's a nice shade of pink, probably from the Depression era of the 1930s, maybe even the 1940s. Now, the edges aren't really finished off. It's not a perfect piece of sea glass, but it tells a really unique story of how beautiful glassware was not too long ago. And if you enjoyed seeing that green vessel that the children and I found in the garbage, you're about to have your mind blown by what I'm going to share with you that somebody was throwing away. Oh my gosh, we have to, well, we got to split this.
Yes.
Come on.
We'll go through and share this.
Oh my gosh, I do. Oh my gosh, Jadeite Fire King. That's not Fire King, is it? It's Avon. Holy cow. Oh my God, more.
Oh yeah, look underneath. Look underneath at the crystal. This one.
Oh my gosh.
Look at this.
Is that federal? I don't even know. St. Louis World Fair, 1904, 1904, 1904, St. Louis World Fair, gold gilded, I'm freaking out. Okay, let's not freak out
I
too
am
much.
freaking out. Look, I'm taking some of this. I hope you know we'll share it.
Look at this.
Let's load all of this. Let's load all of this. Let's load it right now.
This had to be one of the single largest scores of old glassware in my entire life, everybody. There were dozens upon dozens of pieces of pink glassware, and I can imagine this was all in somebody's curio cabinet, and then they passed away, so it got moved into the basement, and then new tenants came in. They saw all this glassware, and they couldn't play video games on it, so they threw it all away. Definitely the individual was a collector of pink Depression era glassware, but we can see that there's some other old antique pieces that were in here as well. Everything from mixing bowls to pieces made in Indonesia after the Depression era to original pieces, which I believe are titled dogwood, and there's just such a wide variety of it. In my opinion, it would be really difficult to drink tea out of a saucer that looked like this, but who knows? These were probably just given away. They were a promotional item, and I'm gonna have to do a lot of research to match all of these amazing patterns to the companies that made them. But we can see that there's such a wide variety of them. It was so many, it filled up my vehicle. It got it all stinky, but when you make scores like this, you can see why I took it home. And now look at this amazing find, everybody. Ooh, unfortunately for me though, I know that this is way too light to be glass, so this is gonna be plastic, and this probably would have been from a reflector light, or maybe it would have been the top of a Siren from some sort of an emergency vehicle. It's really thick glass as well. It might have even had to do with the coal mine and some sort of ooh, it just keeps slipping out of my hand. And that's what plastic does, is plastic is real slippery sometimes. It's a half moon, and it just shimmers. It probably fluoresces under the spectrum of a black light, because I know most plastics that look like this do. So just for fun, when we get home, we're gonna put this under the light as well. This one right over here would probably have been from an old bean pot. It's got the crazing on the glaze, which tells us that this was probably made in the 1800s. It's not super thick, so I'm not gonna think it's a crocky, but when we look at the cross sections, and we can see that it kind of looks porous and it hasn't been vitrified, which means fired at a high temperature, then we know that this is definitely an older ceramic. I just think it's so neat when we can see a piece of concrete and it has inconsistent boulders in it. So we got big rocks, we've got old bricks that were recycled and used as filler. And usually when you had such an inconsistent matrix, such as this one over here, it meant that the concrete wouldn't last. And that's probably why it's sitting here on the shoreline and it's not still in use. And as I'm talking about that, look everybody, I just found what looks like a doll leg. It's a nice piece of rubber. I do not believe this is plastic, and I have found a lot of creepy dolls in my life over the time. So this one here is gonna make a great addition, and who knows, eventually I'm gonna be able to put the entire doll back together. It's not the best aged, everybody, but it's a beautiful shade of yellow, and when I put it on its side, it seems to have a little bit of a carnival iridescence to it, and as I found it, I just realized that camouflaged amidst all of these gray rocks, there's another piece of gray from a floor model television, an older one as well. So hopefully I'm gonna be able to go on the internet and I'm gonna find a nice piece of carnival glass that has some unique patterns to it, and we're gonna be able to match this nice bright yellow to one of those. Look at this, everybody. It's definitely a piece of brass, and it could actually be like a curtain rod ending. It might have been a doorknob, but it's a little bit too small for that. Actually, now that I look at it, it looks like there was a spot for a keyhole in here, so there actually is a good chance that this is an old antique doorknob that was made out of brass. It's pretty unique, and it's pretty beat up. We can definitely see that it looks like it's the craters of the moon. So I'm gonna be taking this one home, and I'm gonna be showing it to someone else who knows a little bit more than me when it comes down to brass. Finding something like this extremely tiny little bone, it definitely gives me an appreciation for the life that I have and how big I am and how little danger I face every single day when I'm out there in the world. I couldn't imagine if this would have been from a mouse or maybe even a bird. Maybe this is actually from a bird wing now that I look at it. and imagining how tough of a life that bird would have had out here on the shoreline, just scavenging for little bugs and little morsels of food, when I can go to the grocery store and buy whatever I want. Check it out, everybody. It's gonna be another marble. Oh my gosh. So this one has been fractured as well, but it didn't have the time to age down like that first one that we found. But it's got a beautiful pattern to it. If I put it like this, it almost looks like it's a flame. And then when I put it like this, it almost just looks like it's gorgeous. Something like this would make a really cool ring for someone, or a great display piece as well. I'm not 100% sure what I'm gonna do with it, other than take it home and love it. Who out there doesn't absolutely love fossils? This one is a 2-for-1 combo because we can see that it's a nice sedimentary rock, a piece of sandstone shaped just like a heart, and it seems to have some fossils that are embedded inside of it. Now have a look at this super well-aged shard, everybody. I'm fairly certain that this would fall underneath. Ooh, look at that. Now that I hold it up, I can actually see that it's 2 different colors. I was about to say that this one would fall underneath the color spectrum of teal, but now when I hold it up, you're gonna see that it has 2 different shades to it. It's an absolutely incredible color variation, everybody. On one side of the shard, it's teal, and on the other side, it almost looks like it's orange. Now, this is always a great indication of older antique glass that was made into a mold, and sometimes iron flux would be added accidentally to the molding, and it would create this little orange swirl to it. Hold up, wait a minute, everybody. I just found a new shard that might be the #1 contestant for shard of the day, but I'm gonna need your opinion. Which one do you like more? That beautiful Amberina shard that I found a long time ago, or this beautiful thick shard, aged to perfection, that I just dropped once again? And no doubt this one comes from an old insulator, a Hemingway 42, or maybe even a Hemingway 40, because believe it or not, when I was out looking through garbage, I found a few insulators as well, and they were Hemingway 40s. Oh my gosh, everyone. So here we go. This is why we're out in heavy garbage, 1000%. Look at this. Some old Hemingway. This isn't a 42, it's a 40. That is killer. 2 dirty old Hemingway insulators with the teeth intact. Like I said, this is 100. What is that? There's more insulators. Mike, what is that? That is the strangest thing I've seen in a long time. Oh, I need that coral. Look at
This?
Oh my gosh, this is coral. I need the coral. I can bleach that. I need the insulators. I need those shells. Hold on a second here. Yeah, what happens is when you go to like Manila or you go to like Mexico, people carve these shells and then they sell them for cheap. It's like folk art. Even that's cool. Anyways, oh, there's vase fillers. Hold on. Yeah, I'll take the insulator. Oh my gosh. This one does not have the teeth on the bottom. It's a Brookfield. You've got to be kidding me. It's an old Brookfield. I know that it's chipped up, but look at this one. It's older than the original ones. Oh, what is that knot? I don't even know what that is. Yeah, is it light?
Yeah.
I think it's an old tree knot. I'm taking that too. I got to take that. Now, when I hold it up, we can see that there's a shadow on the inside, and that would probably mean that this is old glass as well, because that's a pocket of gas that got trapped inside of the glass content as this insulator was being made and being made in abundance. So it's a great find. Now, you tell me, everybody, which one do you think was nicer, this or the Amberina? Do you see what I see, everybody? I am not sure. Is it a pearl or is it a marble? Oh, without a doubt, this is going to be a marble. And we can see it's got some striations in it, some beautiful lines. So this is almost like an onion skin marble, but I know it's not a German onion skin. It actually looks like a real onion, and that's so cool because most of the white marbles that I find are melt glass marbles that would have been from a game like Hungry Hippos. But this one, without a doubt, would be much older than that game was because that game was made out of plastic. So this is probably about a 90-year-old marble, and it's just been tumbling in the ocean forever. Man, I almost didn't even come out this way because there's not a lot of pebbles, but I sure am glad I did. Here's another really, really cool shard, everybody. It's not just aqua seafoam green, but it tells a story of a really old bottle lip that was made by hand. And when I put it on its side like this, you can see the curvature, and that is no mistake. This would have been an old blob top that was quite possibly from an old torpedo bottle that's about 150, maybe even 160 years old. So here I am, and I'm looking through the Old Town dump, and we can see that there's some really old bottles, but look at what's sitting right. Oh, too bad it is broken. And of course, this is gonna be an old reflector light known as a Beehive. And gosh, we probably can assume that it was made in the 1940s or earlier. And it's got that beautiful amberina tinge to the edge of it. And I'm fairly certain that means this would have been made with cadmium, and it's gonna glow and fluoresce under a black light. So I'm so happy to find it. I'll bet the rest of it is somewhere here amidst all this rubbish. And on this beautiful piece, we can actually see the stretch marks, as this bottle would have been made by hand and then finished off with a little bit of a tool. And it's just too tragic that this one is not intact. I would much rather have the black glass than this red light, because the red light is so much more modern, probably about 100 years more modern than the black one. But it just tells us that there's probably a lot more bottles that were thrown out in this spot. And gosh, this is one of my favorite places to come looking. Look at that. We have another beautiful shard of ceramic. Nice little floral design on it. So many pieces of bottles, old pieces of shoe leather. You never know what you're gonna find here at an Old Town dump. I'm back at home, everyone. The lights are out, and I cannot believe how brilliantly these shards fluoresce under the spectrum. The Beehive is really remarkable because it has swirls to it, and the cadmium added to it was extremely inconsistent, as they would have made these very quickly and in abundance as well. Plastics, well, they absorb the rays of the UV light because of the phosphors that are contained inside of the composition of the plastic. It's very different than the glass, but it's equally as beautiful. Here he is, everybody. Say hello to Mr. Cat. He loves to purr all the time, so sometimes I call him Mr. Perfect as well. Now, when we originally adopted him, he was 2 years old, and he was fighting with his brother, so they just couldn't have him with a baby around. His original name was Cuddles. I can see why, because he just purrs so much. My oldest son likes to call him Ronaldo Smurf Cat and says he's going to teach him a bunch of tricks. And my younger boy, William, he likes to call him Toasty because he kind of resembles a toasted hot dog that we fell in love with in Montreal. He's a pretty big boy. Nice. Ooh, there you go. He does. It's wild because he actually knocked down the tablet a few times while I was sitting here videoing for that Cambridge class. He's very, very curious. I call him Mr. C for short, and he's just the greatest little kitty. He loves to look at the window, and that's where he's going right now. Come on, buddy. Okay, well, that's pretty funny for the video. Let's get back to the beach, but I'm glad I got to introduce you to Mr. C. And as you can see, it's snowing cat hair, so it's a good thing that nobody in my family is allergic to kitties. Well, everyone, it's been another great adventure out here on the shoreline, and I've left no stone unturned. It's going to be time for me to call it a day. I just wanted to thank you all, as always, so much for tuning in and for all of the love and support and all of those positive comments that you leave down below. This was something that was missing in my life oh so much, and I'm so happy to have each and every one of you back in my life and sharing all my finds with you regularly. You know, I was out here doing a lot of beachcombing, but it's just not the same when I don't get to share it with you. So hopefully I'm back out here again real soon, having some great adventures. Until then, thanks for your love. This is why we come out. Look at this. This is Royal Albert's. This is definitely bone china. This is all gonna be, oh my God, a piece of crystal. That is lead crystal, 100%. Oh, some old books. That's what's gonna be in here. Oh my gosh.
Oh, look,
No,
here.
no. How old is this book? This book was probably made at the turn of the century, if not earlier. Let's find the printing date on Rebecca of Sunnybrook Farm. Oh, I can't even lift my fingers to do this. 1917.